Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. We've got a few things to go over. I'd like to get started. Go ahead and finish your lunch and go back for seconds. We'll call the meeting to order and approve the minutes of the last meeting. It was mailed out to you by email, and is anyone have any questions or anything about it? Do I hear a motion that we approve them as mail?
So moved.
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Okay.
Who made that motion?
Otis and
Patrick, okay, thank you.
Okay. Before we get into the reports and everything, we got the meeting opened up. I want to welcome our guests that we have with us. We've got a lot of media coverage today for sure. Maybe they're going to do an announcement or something. We just don't know about it. But we've got
Good lunch today.
Mr. Bobo with the Times News. We've got a new face,
Allison
Go. How do you spell your last name?
Goley.
Goley. Okay. Alicia, we're glad to have you. Did I say that right that time? Allison.
You're fine.
I've got it written down, and I've got Alicia written down. As we keep going back to Allison. And we've got Wade Littleton with the Marshtown.
Thank you for having me, guys.
So, we're glad to have you, and we appreciate the support that we get out of our media in this area. We've also got Lynn Tully with the state ECD, Jerry Young with TCAT, Lynn Hutchins with the city, and Ronnie Price representing networks with us today. So I believe we've got a good crowd here today. So glad that you all come out. I'll go ahead and mention, as I know everyone knows, we sent an honorarium for Terry Glass. Terry, had been a member of this board since 1995. So for almost 25 years, I guess, he's been one of our esteemed colleagues. And there's one thing about Terry. Terry was really involved in the running of the industrial board, and was always available when we needed somebody to go check something out. The fact that he had an office there at Fifth Bend made it really handy, because he was there every day to run down problems that might come up. And the thing about Terry, he had such a background in industrial construction, and he understood business. He was a good businessman. He is going to be sorely missed. I tell you what, we had seen his health deteriorate to the point that it was over the last few years, and I don't guess it came as a big surprise, but it's always tough when you lose somebody like that, and he was a close friend, and had, I think the Hawkins County was always, top on his list. So we did go. I know I saw Terry there at the funeral, and I think several of you went by and said your condolences to the family. But he was quite a character, and the love that people had for him was shown, I think, that night. They started the visitation something like 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock. And when we got there at 7, it was still packed out of the church. And the auditorium was almost filled for a funeral, which is unusual today. A lot of people come by and sign the book or something, but now they were out there. The unusual thing about it, and I told his son Shannon, I said, well, this is typical of Terry. The lights were out. They'd had we had that really bad storm that came through with high winds and rain, and they conducted the funeral service in the dark. They had a few Christmas candles that were still around, but basically it was done in the dark. And so I thought he's making a point on his way out, but we'll certainly be missed. And we did send an honorarium to the
Shriners Hospital.
Shriners Hospital in his honor. So, okay, the report of the Secretary Treasurer.
Beginning balance, on November 21st was $15,034.36. We've had several deposits. One was interest for November of $1.36. The $5,000 from TDA that paid for the rail alignment, that was done with the site development grant on lots 11, 17, and 18. And then we've got 5, I think, Ritter reimbursements, 536, 1,150, 666, or 660, $3,202.73, and $589.80. Checks, just our typical checks down through there for our visa activity. The Mandarin and Craig, $5,000 for the due diligence on the rail alignment. And then we had 2 checks for $50 for our part-time help in Phipps Bend for Christmas gifts. And then a check for $100 to Rebecca for a Christmas gift. And then another visa activity check, leaving us a balance of $15,056.50. One CD at Civis Bank for $6,170.96.
Do I have any questions on the financial report? Hearing none, do I have a motion that we accept these
Also moved.
reports? Got a motion to have a second, got a second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. I don't have any committee reports that I'm aware of, but I know I talked with Kerry this week. I was up at Phipps Bend, I guess last week, and after the big rain, and was down in the flood area and flood plain area, and it wasn't truly a flood area now because of all the rain and everything. And I guess between the beaver and just the general state of affairs up there, we've got some issues where the water level is as high as I've ever seen it up there. And those holding ponds and stuff around in that area, in places they might have been over the road, but most of it was just right up at the edge of the road. And we've got some potholes and we've got some issues that we're gonna try to address here with some gravel and things, but we also need to open up the water doesn't have anywhere to go. It can't get out the pipes that's there and things, and so we need to get Paul, and I think Paul and Curry and Rebecca all got it all worked out as to how to.
Well, we're hopeful.
Yeah, hopefully that will do it. But they're gonna rent some backhoes and things and get in there and try to get it cleaned out. And by noon it's Thursday, so it's lunchtime.
You better hope yours don't go up.
Well, I'll just turn mine on.
So we'll need some questions on that.
Go ahead and call him, Otis. See if it's really
So
off.
make sure it's off, I don't know. At the last commission meeting, before the year end, they did approve our recommendation, for Otis and Jean, and I'm questioning one of those already. Jean, so, but that went through fine. As you know, as we were doing the research and everything on the large lot that we're trying to get together at Phipps Bend, one of the issues was archaeological and whatever has gone on up there through the history, and TVA was kind enough to go back and research and get all this information together, but it was a mountain of information, and so we hired a company to research it and come back with a report on that, and I understand from Calvin Clifton this week that we should have that report by the end of this month, or the first of next month, so, and we'll report on that as soon as we get that back in, but that is ongoing. We did ask, what's the name of the company that we got to do the core drillings on?
Foundation Systems.
Foundation Systems. We did get that report back on the, what is the number up there? The corner lot.
It's 984 is the lot number. I'm not sure.
Or whatever, if you know where I'm talking about, where the Kingsport Packaging Company burned and we had removed some barrels, we cleaned the site up and everything, but before we could, approach selling that to a prospective, business, they wanted us to have, and we needed to have, a clear, understanding of, that there was nothing there. We did a phase one environmental, but we went back and hired, Foundations to go in and do, some core drilling and to give us a clean bill of health, and we have got that now. We've got a full report in there if you'd like to see it on, Rebecca's desk, and so that's all done, and it's ready to go now, so that property is ready to be, addressed. I can't think of any other old business. You missed anything?
I think so.
Did y'all get the water issues straightened out on that? When they're, is that the lot Burkefield thing?
No, we don't wanna talk about that yet.
Okay.
We didn't have a water issue.
Well, there's something about the drainage. or
Oh,
something.
okay. Oh, the drainage
Yeah.
issue. Now, yeah, we've got all that worked out. Yeah. At the last meeting, Rebecca passed out the 2019 program of work. And she asked for your all's input on what we need to be working on for the 2020 year. And after getting input from you and myself, and Rebecca has come up with a 2-page report there for you to look over. We would like for you to look this over, and then we'll ask you to approve this for the 2020 program of work. You wanna, have you had a chance to look this over? You wanna discuss it in any way?
I move we accept it.
Okay. Okay, I've got a motion to accept the 2020, program of work. I have a second. Second, Ben. Is there any discussion on it? Like I say, you've had an opportunity to look over the 2019, activities that we did. We need this as a guideline on, to keep, just to know where you're at. If you don't have a plan, moving forward, you just kinda get lost, and I like to see it written down.
We also have to have it for, some grants that we apply for.
Grants that we do, and I think it kinda keeps everybody on their toes, so. Okay, no discussion then, we've got a motion and a second, all in favor of adopting the 2020 program of work that was handed out in each pack. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Get ahead of myself here. As you know, the RPO, which is of the TDOT, we've got 2 members that attend those meetings as voted members, and that's Calvin Clifton and Bill Lyons. And Calvin, let us know yesterday that he's in Nashville working on a project, and Bill, I don't know, is just out today, but they got their first meeting of the year scheduled,
It's on April 30th.
April the 30th. And so we're gonna try to get both of those individuals at this meeting, because if you don't attend the meetings, to vote on your projects and to get your projects, transportation needs in front of these, and moved it to the front of the line, you're just not gonna get anything done. And thankfully, they have agreed to do that. Rebecca and Nancy attend, but they attend as non-voting members, and all they can do is express concern or whatever, but they can't vote on the issues, so we wanna make.
If the representatives here cannot go, they can actually sign a proxy, and Rebecca and I could vote. I did find that out.
Okay.
So if they can't go, if they will let us know, that they do have to sign a proxy,
Okay.
and we can vote.
Well, we've got till April 30th, so we're gonna try our best to get, everybody that is eligible to vote. Does the road superintendent actually vote on stuff too?
Yes.
And the county mayor.
And the county mayor, so we've got 4 votes then?
Yes.
Is there not a rotating, person from
That's
the cities in the
Yes, and that's
RPOs? It's
Betsy Shipley from Bull
Betsy
Scout.
Shipley from Bull's Gap, so there's another one.
Well, we need to, do our best to get everyone there. Not just for the benefit of Phipps Bend or the road that we're trying to get paved, but we've got roads all over the county that need attention. And that's the way you do it on the state roads. And, so, we're gonna see if we can get everybody there at that meeting. And, it's Thursday, April the 30th, and is it in Johnson City?
Gray.
Great, okay. So just to let you know about that, and we will, Rebecca will keep everyone apprised of that situation, and if they can't go, as Nancy said, we'll try to get a proxy so we can get the votes and, get that on par. We've got an upcoming, legislative breakfast on February the 8th, and we've got tickets available for that. We'd like to see a good turnout. I know, a lot of work goes into this, and, that is really a good time to find out what's going on and to have your voice heard, among the legislators. And I'm assuming, Nancy, that you've got everybody lined up to be there for that.
And we'll have several, candidates that are running for the two open, the Senate position and the congressional position.
The Senate
Lamar.
position. Oh,
Lamar's
okay,
position and, Congressman Rose.
yeah. So this is gonna be a big political year with a presidential race, a Senate race, a congressional race. They'll be coming out of the woodwork on this, so, you should have any trouble selling tickets. See, Rebecca, and, if you think you can go and get your tickets and try to support that and support, economic development across the state, and, you know, things are going good right now. We've never seen such an unemployment situation as this, at least in my lifetime, and, it's hard to argue with the economy right now. As we talked, you hear the beeping going off. We were here yesterday. We met with the new owners of the building. They don't wanna see us move out. They've assured us that, everything will work out, keep us here. We really enjoy this because of the nice, being able to use this board facility, along with, having some really nice offices at the end of the hall. And, they're hoping to
I
build
want
it
to
out.
move up there dancing.
Yeah. We're hoping that, they'll build it out, and, they're just kinda getting into it, and so, they just wanted to come by and assure us that everything was fine, so. So we'll see how that goes as we go forward. Rebecca, has been working with the school system, with the local industry representatives, involved in trying to educate our young folks as they come out of school that they're ready to go to work. And you wanna just, kinda update them on what is going on with the,
I'll let, Jerry talk about the TCAT grant, but I'll just, I had one of our bigger industries to contact me this past week, wanted to talk about the skills gaps that he is seeing in the industrial sector of the company. There's a big skills gap from high school to workforce. And so a lot of it is just lack of machinery skills, machining skills, your basic math skills, reading comprehension, and computer program skills like Excel and Word and that sort of thing. But he did say the number one is, of course, soft skills. And actually, I'm going to Knoxville tomorrow to a conference on soft skills. It's called Soft Skills Boot Camp. So hopefully I can bring back some information on that I can share with our companies. I haven't talked to Lynn or Jerry yet on this because it is such a new thing. I just met with him Tuesday and I was out yesterday. But we was wanting to get a group of us together to hopefully talk about these gaps that we have and see if there's anything that we can do with the TCAT or the high schools or even with the state to see if we can get something together for this. I do have an email that I'm going to send out to all of our companies asking their top 5 skill gap areas. And then we're going to compile all that information together and see what the top 5 for everybody is. And I think they'll all be the same. I really think they'll all be the same. So hopefully we'll get that email sent out today or in the morning, and we can get all this compiled together and get a group of us together to meet and see what we can do about this. So, and I'll just let Jerry talk about the TCAT training and the
Get grants.
yes.
And I'll touch on the soft skills. Trying to roll those into high school was part of the LEAP grant when we were really trying to work on that work ethics diploma. If you're not familiar with the way a TCAT operates, our adult students have attendance and tardy. They actually have to come to school, they have to be on time, or they can be terminated from programs. So their classes are 5 days a week, 6 hours a day. If the class starts at 7:30 and they're late, they're only allowed to be late 8 times a trimester, and we suspend them. They can only miss so many days. So we try to build that in, but that's with adults. But what we see is with the high schools, carrying that into the GIVE grant, which we had a great day. I appreciate those that came out the day the governor was at the TCAT. I think they told me it's the first time a governor's ever been at a TCAT Morristown in its history. But we had a great turnout. I appreciate everybody that came from Hawkins County. We had 7 counties that are represented. Director of Schools was there, CTE from Hawkins County, all of them from Everett County. I think we had 16 business and industries there that day. We've had over 30-something partner with us on that $1 million grant. And what that's gonna do is that's going to put equipment into Hawkins County High Schools, precision measurement training. We're gonna be looking, some of them are gonna be getting hydraulics, pneumatics. But somebody asked me at the chamber meeting in Morristown on Tuesday, how's it feel to have $1 million? I said, well, I've done signed $800,000 worth of purchase orders. It didn't feel good long. But we're trying to get that equipment out by summer so that it'll be available to y'all's high school students by next fall, and we'll have training in place. At the Hawkins County campus, I was just told yesterday that we're at 100, I think just a little over 100 students now, counting our dual enrollments. We've seen an increase in dual enrollment students there, especially in welding and industrial electricity, industrial maintenance. I've had to hire another part-time instructor just to help with the high school. I think he had 10 high school students this morning teaching them industrial wiring. So we're seeing positive signs with those type things. So the GIVE grant, it's gonna benefit everybody in this entire region, especially where y'all have y'all have great industry here, and we've got that industrial park, and that's who's gonna really see some benefit. Carrying that into what Rebecca, and I thanked Rebecca earlier, she has done a great job helping us herd these industries. But we were approached, Larry called, I think, a few months back, and we were approached that there was some money available from East Tennessee Workforce Development Board for training for industry. So we developed some classes that we could teach and run. And we worked on our side. Rebecca took care of all the industries, letting them know the money. I think we'll probably have a meeting next week at our industrial meeting at the Phipps Bend campus. But right now, it looks like we're gonna have a hydraulics, pneumatics class. That'll be 2 separate classes. We've seen OSHA, quite a few signed up for OSHA training for their employees. I think there's about 5 or 6 industries out there.
Yeah.
Have wanted to participate in that. Forklift training, I don't have the exact number, Rebecca, you sent an email out to update me, but it seems to me like overall it's about 60.
Yeah, I think
60
so.
people will receive training. It will be paid for through the East Tennessee Workforce Development Board, and hopefully that, this money runs out this year. Hopefully, we'll see another pickup next year, but I know the industries appreciate that. I appreciate y'all calling and letting us work with that and help with that project.
About 60.
So, as far as the workforce and getting into the high schools, we are working with Hawkins County School System. We're trying to roll more programs into the high schools to engage them while they're still at high school. I think we're in about 7 high schools now. And it's been very successful, and we're working on that here. Of course, y'all, every county I go in, they want a campus like Hawkins County has. And, Claiborne County calls it, how do we get a TCAT? Y'all got to put one in Hawkins County. So it's great to have one here and have it out there by that industrial park. So hopefully, instead of just sending the high school kids there, we can move in and work within the high schools and then start developing some of these, what I call it work ethics. Show up on time, work while you're there, stay off the cell phone, be able to pass a drug test. I can probably tell you the 5 you're gonna get when you call industry, because they call us all the time. But those are the types of things that we're trying to embed in our training, not just teach them how to be an electrician, teach them how to be a good worker electrician, or not how to be a maintenance man, but how do you be a good employee maintenance man. So we've got a lot of things going on. I appreciate everything y'all do for us here in Hawkins County. You have really helped out the campus out there. One more quick update. I think back in the summer, I told y'all I was gonna make contact with the company I had worked at when I was at TCAT Crossville about truck driving and trying to get a program at the Hawkins County campus. He called me this week. I think it was probably Monday, and he is looking to possibly get a program. So I'm hoping that he'll be up sometime the end of next week maybe, or the week after. Everything's set up out there. The place for him to drive, the classroom, it's ready to go, and that's what I told him. His company has several contracts now in Kingsport, Plus with the industrial park there, that might be a benefit to those industries as well as him. So, I'll keep y'all updated on that, but, I think he's ready to move. The only negative I can say right now is we have an accreditation visit in October this year, and it's not a negative that they're coming, we're ready for them. The problem is they won't let me start anything new 6 months before they get here. And, it really straps me, you know, I'm one of those, let's get it, let's get on with it, let's do it, let's move on to the next project. So it's gonna slow me down. We're gonna try to get this truck driving thing approved at the March board meeting and maybe get some students enrolled quickly so I can beat that 6 month deadline. But after May 1st, I'm gonna have to sit down and be quiet, and it's real hard for me.
Well, to me, you know, having been on this board for some time now, this is what the industrial board does. You know, you get all of the news, media hoopla over an announcement of a new industry that's coming or something like this, but every day, this is where the majority of the jobs come from. This is how you support the existing industries. And right now, we've got a great new superintendent that all I can read, and from talking with educators throughout the county, they're excited about this. And so with the work that Jerry's doing and always available to help us with these programs, Kathy Pierce, you know, the grant he was talking about that we're eligible for is gonna really help the existing industries. And so a lot of work and effort's going into this thing. And so thankfully Rebecca's right on the cutting edge of that, and we'll get more training again tomorrow on all these things. So it's great, we appreciate it. Anything else we need to talk about on that?
No, I don't think so.
Lynn,
Yes, sir.
now that we love having you come by, is this gonna continue?
Well, I've got somebody else coming on. He'll start, February 3rd. But we'll probably both show up every now and again. Like I said, it'll be back and forth, whether it's me or him, but Rebecca will have both our numbers, so.
Oh, good. It's always good. We appreciate, I tell you, between the state of Tennessee and the TCATs and TVA, it's amazing the support we get for everything that goes on. Tim, we just talking with him this week, he couldn't make it today, but he's always available, usually for the Phipps Bend joint venture meetings and things. So, Ronnie, any report from networks? I got my copy of the annual report, and it looked good. A lot of activity going on. Do you have anything?
Well, you know, of course, New Year's started, and in my role, we're starting another round of visits. Lynn goes with me some, and whoever, and we're looking at a couple existing industry things later, probably early March or April. One of them is gonna be a regional job fair.
Yeah.
They've had this job fair at Bristol, and it's drawn a couple thousand people.
Yeah.
In fact, last year, there was several hundred jobs actually were offered and accepted that day, but we thought we'd try to look at it, expand it to the Hawkins County and the Washington, Carter County, Unicoi County area. And we're gonna try to have another, what we call first meetings with existing industries, and like the last one we had at the RCAM, inviting Hawkins County, all the other industries. We're not exactly sure about the program yet. One suggestion is, they've got a really good program to re-entry for the prisoners into the system workforce down in Gibson County. And that sheriff has spoken at several conferences about this, so he's agreed to come up. Because, as you know, with, like you just said, with the labor rate like it is, lowest in our lifetimes, you gotta get more innovative on how you can get employees and everything. So those two things are coming up, and we're just doing our usual you know, marketing and submitting proposals and, I know what Michael Phipps been in on a proposal today. That, and a number of, RFIs aren't at the level they were, but they are increasing again, and as you know, being in this a long time like I have, this is an election year, and it could be the wildest one we've ever seen as far as that goes. But, so you don't know what's really gonna happen there. But, we're looking forward to a good year, working with Hawkins County again. Of course, I live here, so it's always good to come to this meeting.
Oh.
Food's delicious.
Yeah.
I'm glad Otis cooks.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You know, it's great having Ronnie back, and the relationship that we've got with Networks is phenomenal. I mean, they include us on every turn that they do, and so, it's been a very beneficial, experience up to this point, so we just hope it can continue. And as Ronnie mentioned, you know, one of the governor's initiatives is to get these, folks that, as they get out of prison or out of jail, whatever, that they can have some training and be able to be put into the workforce. If not, then they'll go back to some of their old ways and they'll be right back in jail again. And I know this is one of Governor Lee's prime objectives, is to put these people, give them some skills, put them back to work, and right now's the time when we really need them. And as Rebecca mentioned, and I'll reiterate this again, this is one of the things that the industrial board does, is we talk with the existing industries, and they're concerned about not getting, employees that have the skills needed to fill the jobs, and so they struggle with that. It's hard on everyone, and so I think between the efforts of the school system, with TCAT, with the state, with Rebecca, and everything we've got going, we can, I think really help our industry in getting good quality employees, and, you know, things are looking up, in my opinion, in that regard, so.
Speaking of what he was talking about there, of course, I was in the trucking business for a good while. We had people on the welding team up there that we hired, we had advisors to it. It's a really good program. And getting out in schools, if you're talking about truck drivers, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, he's got around 650 trucks. He said 100 of them was empty, couldn't get drivers.
Yeah.
That's a big number.
That's a big number.
Big shortage,
Yeah, and that's good paying.
Yeah, you're talking about $60,000-$70,000.
Yeah.
Walmart's,
Hmm.
Walmart, newest time was there, I read something the other day, 90,000.
Yeah.
90,000. Yeah,
You put the fringe package together, and most of it is in that area.
yeah,
It's not a low paying job.
right. Well, that'll be great if, Jerry, and Jerry's the man that can pull this thing off up there, so.
I believe he is.
Put the pressure on.
Yeah, don't put the pressure on.
Running about 15 people over 6 weeks.
Yeah.
They were all got a job. So.
Yeah, Eddie was on that welding board up there when I had the shop down there, and, you know, we worked with them, and we got a lot of help out of it.
Yeah. Well, it is nice. I mean, you can, if you're in the industry, you can go over there and talk with them and say, well, who's the best one you got coming out? I've got a job I really need. And
I like the attitude that if they don't show up to work on time, you're just wasting time with them to start with.
yeah, that's
You
true.
know, if they're enthusiastic about it and they want to work, they'll be there on time.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, it's good. Anyone else have anything? We forgetting anything? Like I say, we're starting out a new year. We've got a plan of work. We've got a lot of enthusiasm, I think, moving into the new year. And, you know, as we know, with an election coming on and everything that's going on, it's going to be an exciting year. I'll say that for us. one last word, I guess, about Terry Glass. President Trump lost, I guess, his
Big
most
supporter
ardent
there.
supporter that I've ever seen. The last conversation I had with Terry, he was talking about his Trump socks. He always had a pair of socks, so,
I wanna say that Terry and Kerry deserve a lot of credit because they were tremendous help, and they still are.
still on.
I mean, we first got Phipps bid, it looked like a bombed out war zone. And everything they did, all the time they put in up there trying to make it more attractive and keeping it under maintenance and everything. And Terry, you know, he was easy, you just pick the phone up, Terry, go up there and look at this. Of course, every time a helicopter went over, he'd call me. What's going on? I guess he's still doing that, Rebecca?
Yes,
Still doing
yes.
that?
Still there.
I said, I think TVA's flying their power line. But I don't think people realize how much Kerry and Terry time that they have dedicated to that over the years. So I was always very thankful for it.
They still are, and,
Terry did the most of it because he was on site. He deserves the most credit for all of that.
well, you know, I was on site last week, but I still didn't know what to do to fix the problem. You go up there and figure out how to fix it, that's
It's
The
not done
difference.
yet, be careful.
I can assess the situation, but I can't fix it most of the time, but, I did, like I said, I drove down through there with a client and, saw that there was a real problem, you know, but we've had a tremendous amount of rain and so I didn't know if it would go away or not, but I'd never seen it as high as it was, so.
Back to something we covered earlier about, the First Tennessee Development Meeting.
Right.
Calvin, attended this last session,
Right.
Calvin, and they came back telling us that, they didn't see any possible way that we could get the two paving projects we've sought to get done through, First Tennessee Development District funds. So we're gonna have to take counsel with, Lowell Bean and see what we can do to get the two of the most industry important paving jobs in the county addressed, the one to the blast plant
Right.
as well as the industrial
Main-
park.
main
And I
road.
think we did that probably, 15 years ago? Right at that.
I guess it's been that long, it's,
Yeah. Of course, we did that for, I think Lowell looked that up and found out we spent about $285,000 paving the park before. And the estimate this time, and of course, there's some area that wasn't paved, a little bit of area that wasn't paved before, but this time the estimate was, I think $1.2 million.
yeah.
So this, and Lowell's got a $3 million budget, so he can't spend all that on those two roads, so we're gonna have to, promote some sort of effort to get funding to get those two things done, cause they're gonna approach the critical stages,
Right.
within the next year or two.
Well, it's been that long, and just to, so everyone understands, the original roads were put in by the state of Tennessee. Ned Ray McWhirter made sure that all the main roads and even the side roads were paved and developed and, everything but with state money.
Mhm.
And then all we've got to do is maintain it, but, like I say, we've only done that one time, and that's 15 years ago, so, you've got to.
That was done with the bond fund, as I recall, with some
Bond fund, it was,
other long
it was,
time people, so the county was doing a bond fund and they added that to it.
right.
So something similar may have to be done this time, which is, we're gonna have to see.
That may be an issue we wanna take up with the industrial committee of the county commission and let them present it then to the, I guess, road committee, but we'll do what we can and make sure we got the right people at the meetings to get whatever state money is available and, federal money. I know they passed that gas tax, and so you should've, you know, we should be getting some out of that, you know, so, you would hope. I noticed you picked that up, everybody's got their picture,
Yeah, this
that
is
was
in first
taken.
picture.
and she's put it on a, what do you call it, snap drive? or a
Flash drive,
Flash
thumb
drive
drive.
or something. Some kind kinda dry.
That's where I want mine
On a piece of
He
paper.
wants his on paper.
It's hard to see down them holes.
Find on paper, let me know.
Yeah. But anyway, if you do have access to a computer, you can look at yourself on the computer, if you know how to turn it on, and,
So if we get a frame 16 by 24, we can send the invoice back to Rebecca.
send it to somebody.
Well, I don't know, I got a great grandson, he'll do it.
Yeah. That's what we all have to depend on. the
Right,
grandkids
I've had to
have all
We're
this
gonna,
stuff.
start call you Alan.
Yeah.
Larry's iPad.
Yeah, she's been, my iPad's kinda been on the blink, but she's got it back working now. But anyway, anybody else have anything good at Hawkins County?
Don't forget to let me know if you
Yeah,
want
let
to.
her know on this legislative, because we need a good representation there,
And
and,
it's probably gonna be a sellout, so it'll probably be,
yeah, it'll be a
cause
sellout
it
for
only
sure.
exceed 150 people
Yeah.
max.
Is that the bus shop where
Yes,
always
yes.
is?
Go up and, meet the new candidates for the, United States Senate and, United States Congress, and I guess our local representative is up. Is the Senate open this time, and,
Gary, of course,
Central
Gary runs
Nicely.
every 2 years, so
yeah,
yeah, his
I just
is.
wanna send some
And I think
nice.
Nicely's is too.
Oh, be a bunch of them there, so, that'll be interesting. Is this the biggie for the county offices also?
No.
It's not, it's an off year for that.
Yeah, the only one running for county will be, Jeff Thacker.
There's
Yeah,
always
that-
one office of
Property assessor.
property assessors, only one that's on the off year, so. Thank you all for coming out, thanks, our guests for being with us and helping us, and, anytime we ask, they're always there, so. Thank you all, and, y'all have a good week.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Well done,